surgical life insurance. And indeed, a lifeline is what it was, because through what could be termed a trying time, the bright spark for me was surgical life insurance. Let me tell you that this is one of the things that I can truly say I am grateful to Terry for, bringing me to surgical and allowing Miss Roll to convince us to purchase this policy. It turned out to be my anchor in a very choppy sea. Miss Roll took my affair in hands and displayed not just true professionalism, but an unprecedented compassion towards my family and mine. In a space of 3 months of Terry's passing, the processing of my claim was complete, and I was able to see a light at the end of that very long tunnel. Today, I can proudly stand here and say with conviction to anyone who cares to listen, let surgical life be your lifeline of choice.
Oh my goodness.
Let's give a round of applause again.
Thank you, Raymond. Very compelling testimonial. And a hug from, of course, Auntie Cheryl Rowe. Okay, don't get me started. Thank you so much, Joan. Raymond, at this point, I should have stayed standing on a roll. I am pleased to welcome to the stage 2024 Congress Director, Cheryl Rowe. She wants, hello, DJ, she wants some music to dance away to the stage. Hello. She wants I'll be there for you. That's what you want?
Yes.
I'll be there for you. Hey, yes, I give it up for Cheryl. Whoa. I'll be there for you.
Her Excellency, our Kalinabo President and President of Dominica, Mrs. Silvani Burton, and Mr. Burton, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Her Excellency Baroness Patricia Scotland, Commonwealth Secretary General in the whole world and coming from Dominica. Our missing but presenter this morning, Honorable Dennis Charles, Honorable Kasani Laville, and Honorable Kozia Frederick, who are not here, but they were present and I'm thankful. Mr. Hugh Meredith, President of the Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, CABSEC, Marcel Fenton, Gerard Cruikshank, who I know was part of the reason why we're hosting this Congress, and Alicia, him and Alicia. I'm just saying that because they were the executive. Mr. Brenton Hillier, President of the Dominica Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, and also President of the Dominica Association of Insurance, Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, and President of what else? Brenton is plenty president. Our President, Carrie, let's get it right, Carrie James, of the American Canadian School of Medicine and School of Full Scholarships for Dominicans. We are not to forget our regulators. They're sitting there watching us and using their calculators. I'm just looking. Conference delegates from Aruba all the way up to Jamaica and Canada and the US, and all our delegates, Jamaica strong, Trinidad strong, and all the rest of the islands strong, and the media, and our Kalinago people, and our Granby. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So the last dance you saw a while ago, during slavery, the brave slaves ran into the mountains to get away from the colonialists. The mountains were so high and steep that the colonialists couldn't catch up with the slaves. So they did their own village called Granby. So Granby is known as the cultural capital of Dominica. And 80% of our top musicians are from that part of the island. So what you saw today on the lawn with them doing the ballet, I went to Ghana, and that's the same thing I saw in Ghana. I'm like straight out of Africa. So this young lady is from the cultural capital, and this young man is from the Kalinago space. So you see what makes us strong? Just look at the history. This is our fourth Congress in Dominica, and this is our fourth Congress in Dominica, and I'm proud to say we are the island that has hosted in the OACS the most congresses. About the theme, if you see the theme, every time we have to do a Congress theme, I pray on it. I say, Lord, show me, give me the vision of what I would like to show. And the last Congress, it was Life's Blessings, which was the value of life insurance. And this one, I thought of it more holistically, because I guess I'm a little older, that's 11 years ago. And so I thought, your protection. And when I was looking at it, I was outside in the sun was rising above the mountains. So I was like, your protection, our mission, we are missionaries. Because at the end of the day, people will bring wreaths to all funerals. I went to a funeral the other day, and you know the tents they put over the graves before they bury you? The wreaths was above the tent, and I looked at everybody at that funeral. They had the newspapers, were full of things about the person that passed away. And I looked at everything there, and I am saying to myself, they bring wreaths and cards, and we are the only ones that's going to bring a check. Because at the end of the day, I have never gone to a funeral and see the bills fall in the grave. One day somebody must throw the bills in there, like the electricity bill and the light bill and the water, and the mortgage must throw in there. And Mrs. Raymond, I want to thank you for being brave. You went brave. Because I felt for her, and it was very emotional for her to be able to present. And what I am most happy about is the thoroughness of what we should do. Our protection, your protection, is our mission. If they had just fulfilled the bank's fantasy and done the mortgage only for the bank satisfaction, she would not have had any access to assist her children to continue to go to university. And so when we do total needs selling, we must look at those things, because it's not just what the person comes to present to you. 90% of people don't believe the value of insurance. So how I tell them is that if you pay for insurance, if insurance was free, would you come? Yes. Is your car insured? Everybody's car is insured. Why? In case I get into an accident. Well, why don't you insure it third party? No, I want it fully comprehensive. So your car is valued more than you? So you place more value on your car than on your life insurance, on your life? And so I think when I look at the holistic aspect of it, I think it also starts from education. And I would really like, if nothing else, Madam President, if we could have something called financial planning in high schools and colleges. You know? And I would go one step further. For that course, I would ask the insurance companies to help sponsor the lecturers. So it could be symbiotic, so that the lecturers are part of the stipend that the insurance company pays. Mr. Regulator, we can do that? So that we can educate, because you have doctors graduating and lawyers. You don't even, when you have career week, we come there to educate, but some of the college students are not even aware of the opportunities. And by the way, we have 12 college students working with us here, so give them a round of applause. And so I would rather hear about financial planning than about Columbus. You know? And nobody teaches that to us at school. And it is important that we are taught these things, because I remember my son was 8 years old, and I wanted to send him to a more private than the private school he was in. And he told me straight up, Mom, we have a mortgage to pay, we cannot afford it. We don't teach financial planning to our children. So when they come home with a Nike shoes and 2 gold chains around their neck and a bike, clearly they don't know that we know that they didn't get it from normal channels. And so we have to take responsibility as parents and girlfriends. Girlfriends and parents are guilty of drug trafficking a lot as well, because they are living with the proceeds of what comes to them. And so if we teach financial planning and things like that, the children will be aware that no, I cannot buy you a Nike, you will just have to have a Plany. Right? And I say that, you know, we are making less children nowadays, and so we have to have them more focused as well. Right? So how do we guide them and focus? So I looked at Your Protection, Our Mission being not just about life insurance, but about home insurance. And I want to thank Mr. Patrick Kingston for being one of our sponsors that asked me if I don't know the budget had been passed already, but I said, well, just reopen it now. So Mr. Patrick Kingston, are you here? Okay, hi Mr. Hinkson, and Surgical Life and Pan American Life, Jared, stand up, and Hebron, and Maxine, our Vice President, wave to me, Maxine, for being there to assist us. But I was looking at the total holistic. So what does it mean by Your Protection is Our Mission? So I considered us to be missionaries. And what I find amazing is that there's a certain religion that I see some young men from maybe Utah. They come with their white shirts and their gray pants. I don't know if you see them in your islands, but we see them with their tie and their gray pants and their white shirt, and they have their little tags. And I look at those young children walking the streets of Roseau trying to convert people to Mormonism or Mormon, whatever, how it goes. And I'm saying to myself, if these people can get up, pack their bags, their parents allow them to come and spread the word of their faith, we should be able to spread the word of our faith to our people. And so if you work hand in hand, and there again, I want to thank the government of Dominica and the Prime Minister, who I know would love to be here, but because it is Parliament, I did try. I asked him if he could change the date. He told me no, Cherry. He told me no, Cherry, but I will ensure that some of them will show up. So I really wanted him here. So Mr. Prime Minister, here's to your vision, because, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have all the figures. And Mr. Regulator, maybe you can help me because you maybe know more than I do for the other islands. But as far as I know, Dominica is the only island that allows you complete tax relief from all your medical insurance premiums and your home insurance up to $8,000. So every house you insure, once your premiums are not above 8,000, you claim the whole 8,000 on your tax return. So it's a win-win situation, because maybe also because of our Hurricane Maria sufferation, as they would say in Jamaica. Maybe because of what you recognize and your eyes are opened a little more, so that you realize that if I work with my people, then it's a win-win situation. So therefore we have tax relief on home insurance and tax relief on health insurance. So I looked at it holistically, and I said it's not just about protecting our income, but it's protecting our health. A lot of us suffer from non-communicable diseases, and it's not our fault, because during slavery times, it's the pigtail and the saltfish that we were given. That's just how it is. And the wings has the most fat, but that's what we were given. We were given what was not being eaten. And so the culture has been that we eat our pigtail and we eat our saltfish, and then we pay the price after. So I looked at it holistically and say that we are not just protecting our income, but protecting our health, protecting our environment, protecting our democracy. We have a moral responsibility to be shining examples. We're not perfect, but at least we can assist in educating in any way we can to uplift our world. So I want to thank you, and I want to give special mention to our attendees and our assistants and our members of our association and the committees. And as for Mr. James, shall I tell them? So I wrote to the school, and when I looked at the quantity of us, I realized that this would maybe be more comfortable. And I also walked into here when it was very air conditioned. So I was like, that's it, that's the place. And I wrote to the school, and the school sent me a letter and told me that I could not have it here because the students use here. So I went above everybody's head and I went to him. And I said, okay, if I can't have it for all 3 days, can I please have it for 1 day? And he was so kind. So thank you, Mr. James. And my dear friend Marlene Chin from Trinidad. Marlene came in on her holidays to assist us. So Marlene, please stand up. Let's give you a round. Marlene has an eye for marketing and an eye for everything, so I don't need to tell you how much eyes was here. And I want to thank all the presidents and all the attendees here. Anytime you don't think you're valuable and you're worth it, just remember the value of what you do. I tell people, some of us will get sick, some of us will get old, some of us will die. I met a client the other day and he said, Miss Roll, so long I'm paying insurance and I'm not getting nothing. I told him I was hungry at the time, it was 1 o'clock. So I looked at him and I said, why don't you get sick or die? He's like, Miss Roll, how could you wish bad on me? I said, I'm not wishing bad of you because studies have shown that most people that have insurance don't die. It's always the ones that haven't got insurance that you hear that have passed away. So which one would you rather? Would you rather be dead and your family collect the money, or alive and pain and complain about it? So I said, it's like going to insure your car. When you go to insure your car, when you go to insure your car, you don't climb up the steps of the insurance company and say, so long I pay for that insurance, my car haven't crashed. Like, you're just happy your car haven't crashed and you pay for it. But again, it comes back to education, and Minister Alfred, I told her to put it in the curriculum. So if you speak to people about financial protection instead of Columbus, or along with Columbus, then they will know when they graduate from high school about insurance, and when they graduate from university and college, they will already have in their mind the training. And when I heard, I think it was Minister Kasani Lavin that spoke about generational wealth, I tell my clients all the time, on a Friday afternoon in the Caribbean, you can know when it's a Friday afternoon. You don't need your calendar or your phone. Take a drive at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and every rum shop has people drinking rum with their glass. So you don't even need a calendar. You know it's Friday afternoon. But look at the people that are drinking. The people that are liming in the bars need insurance, but they don't see the value of it, so they just buy another drink. So education, education, education is the key out of poverty. As Mrs. Raymond, you were fortunate that your husband had insurance. My father died and left 10 of us in an accident, and his cousin sold insurance, and he left us with my mother with 10 children. So I know the value of not having insurance. And you suffer too much for having to pay for too little. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Vander Roll. I prefer having the belly full Miss Roll than the hungry, right? So, beware of that. Thank you again. We now take another break. We have royalty in our midst. Yes. Moxie Sherby, please stand. As you can see, she's wearing her crown. She's the reigning Junior Bouillon Monarch of Dominica 2024. And let me tell you, she has the hottest Bouillon Monarch song in Dominica as I speak. Yes, so you will hear for yourself, and you be the judge. Moxie Shirley, welcome to the stage. And give us a little rocking with your song, Cut Them Off. Yeah, it's all yours. Take it away.
Good morning, everybody. How old are you, Shirley? 15. She's just 15 years old. I would like to say a big up to the surgical employees, the surgical associates, and to all the invited. What up? Cut them off. When you see their hands in money, cut them off. When their eyes to your face, cut them off. When they catch up on the vision, cut them off. I raise from the best of the best. They purpose with zero reference. To be young, pretty, old and strong. I aspire to be just like you. You yourself unapologetically. You transcend the stress and not from poverty. People talking, want to be at ease. Stimulating points, yes, from all these beats. I want to be like you, but you respect me so much. Cutting front beats, baby, so much. Don't go out time to wire me up, pull up. And the phone call, judge me, go up there. It's like the floor, something higher. How you like to do your job and make it satisfy. One day, I also have the confidence to do what I love with the hesitance. Cut them off. When you see their hands in front of you, cut them off. When their eyes to your face, cut them off. When they cast up on the vision, cut them off. I bring from the best of the best. They both are with zero reference. We come to see you and strong. I aspire to be just like you. Make this big price, give her evidence. That's how I will make everything with your friends. I carry from to teach you broken. Not again, cause where I am going. We go up, like a big one. Going up, that is my goal. And I will not stop till I prosper. Till I plan a whole generator. Cut them off. When you see them acting funny, cut them off. When their minds to your face, cut them off. When they cast a body vision, cut them off. When you saw the best of the friends, they were just with zero preference. We don't see old and strong. That's why as long as I feel someone has something. Don't worry, it's not necessarily telling you to start off all the negativities, but all the bad parts from your life. Because this year is going up. We go. Stay positive, stay low, and call them out.
Wow. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So we have this, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed guests. I'm privileged to extend a heartfelt welcome to the President of the Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors to the podium, Mr. Hugh Meredith.
Cut them off. I'm trying to find the protocol list. Second page. All right. Cut them off. Okay. Good morning. Your Excellency Silvani Burton, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mr. Burton, Her Excellency Ornez Patricia Scotland, Commonwealth Secretary General, we also have in our midst this morning the President of the University. We have the President of DIFA, Mr. Hillier, our Congress Director, other guests, members of the CARAIFA Board, Mrs. Joan Romaine, CARAIFA delegates, media, and most importantly, you, our members, who are here this morning to learn and to foster development among yourselves. Good morning.
Good morning.
My task is really to welcome you to our 35th annual Congress here in Dominica. And yes, Cheryl, Gerald was the main architect in saying to us that if we don't have Congress in Dominica, Cheryl says she will cut off all of you. So thank you very much, Gerald, for allowing Cheryl to not cutting off our executives and board this morning. Now, I must say thanks to President Hillier for hosting us, Congress Director Cheryl and her team. When you come to Dominica, the first thing you will hear is that you must forget about where you're coming from because you're now in heaven. And I have experienced heaven. And I'm experiencing heaven because I was able this morning to meet the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. And I followed that story, the competition with our Minister of Foreign Affairs in Jamaica, Mrs. Johnson Smith, right? And my favorite person won. Because I learned many things. Your calmness and the fact that you weren't in a fight. You knew exactly what was going on and you knew exactly the work that you would have done. Congratulations. I won't be long, but I share my story with you yesterday after our board and executives kept us for 3 days. That's 24 times 3 hours in a room without at times food, only to serve you. And then I was told every single thing is good, and every single thing was good. However, like everything else, we had a few challenges, and let me tell you something. Caribbean people, you are the best ever in the world. Yes, some of our colleagues went early and they were comfortable, jacuzzi and looking through the balcony and they were waving. And some of our colleagues were saying, what is happening? I'm not sure. Where is my bed? And then you had some suitcases in the passages, and we said, okay, let's get together and fix this. And our colleagues in the hotel took one by one, and within 15 minutes, we had nobody without a bed. Nobody without a bed. But what happened really is that Hurricane Maria was passing through yesterday because the suitcases found rooms and bodies found rooms. And at one point, my friend from Trinidad said to me, my wife said, someone is coming to share. And he was happy. The point I'm making is when we are facing challenges, we really bond together, and we saw it yesterday. And I must say to you that we have some executives from various countries and companies here, and I'm going to ask them to stand and be recognized. The vice presidents and presidents, can you stand, please? I want you to stand. We know who you are. Please. Welcome. Thank you very much for the support that you are giving to our colleagues. And I'm challenging you, especially my good friend Maxim from Trinidad, and my brother Martinez from Trinidad, and my very good friend from Jamaica. For those persons who we had yesterday, and for those persons who we saw really coming together to let this Congress what we wanted it to be, and getting every single thing that was preventing us from flowing smoothly in place, I must say to you that I will ensure that the few persons who were affected yesterday get a fund in place from these 3 people who stood. And we will ensure that your entrance to our next Congress will be fully taken care of. And if you realize they are in agreement, ladies and gentlemen, you're in Dominica. Cheryl would have set the tone We are here because we have been spared by our Maker. The most important thing in this life is that we have life. And if you understand that the only thing that you will ever possess in this life is this life. And if you understand what it means to love yourselves, then you will understand how important it is to show love to someone else. We are people who have been struggling to understand our purpose. We are people who have been struggling to understand that together we can do many great things. And so I'm challenging you this morning to understand the purpose that you serve in this life. And with that understanding, understand why it is extremely important for you to share that vision with everyone around you. Understand that your purpose is not the things you accumulate around you. Your purpose is the life that you will serve in yourself and others. That's life purpose. And so as you move on through the next 3 days, remember why you're here. Not how you're looking, but why you're here. And how will you get something from this Congress to impact yourself and those who weren't fortunate enough to be here. You must be the standard bearer. You must be the being that will spread the messages that you would have gotten since morning and will be getting. And once again, let me say, thank you for coming, and we will be having lots of parties, plenty fun, courtesy of Mrs. Rule, and may I say, your protection, always our mission.
Thank you. Thank you, that's my co-host, being a gentleman. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, it's with great honor and reverence that we extend a warm welcome to our dear Baroness Patricia Scotland, a distinguished Dominican, advocate for justice, democracy, and human rights. Baroness Scotland joined us today to share her invaluable insights under the theme Protecting Our Democracy. With her extensive experience and unwavering commitment to upholding democratic values, her remarks promises to enlighten and inspire us all. Help me bid welcome to Her Excellency Baroness Patricia Scotland.
Well, what a wonderful welcome. And so may I start with Her Excellency, Madam President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, President Burton, and Mr. Burton. I think we should really give the President a very warm welcome. Because the President has really knocked it out of the park. Not only is she the first person from the Kalinago, but she is the first woman to be the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and she is a star. And I
really want to congratulate Mr. Burton for having such exceptional good taste. So, honourable ministers, distinguished delegates, colleagues, partners, and dear friends, can I say that I know why every single person is here? It's because you were similarly terrified by Cheryl Roll. I defy anyone, when Cheryl rings you, to have the courage and temerity to say, no. The best you can do is to avoid the call. If you pick up, you're gone. And trust me, you can never cut her off. But it is a real joy, because if there's one thing Cheryl Roll has, it's heart. Heart, empathy, and love. And so I can truly say, Madam President, as a fellow person with Caliago heritage, I am so grateful, and it is wonderful to be home. Last week, we marked the 75th anniversary of the modern Commonwealth. And this month marks my 8th anniversary as Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations. I am the 6th Commonwealth Secretary General and the first woman to hold this post. And I think we should not only celebrate our milestones, we should use them as an opportunity to reflect. And as I stand here in the country of my birth, amongst my family, it is impossible for me not to be struck by the central role Dominica has played, the nature island of our region. The role it's played not only in my heart and my history, but in my experience as Secretary General. Because when I think about our world today, the economic and environmental peril we face, the inequity, the systems and structures that we need to improve, but also the beauty, the ingenuity, the astonishing potential, I think about the Caribbean, and I think about beautiful Dominica. I think about Tropical Storm Erica, which destroyed 95% of Dominica's GDP in 2015. Then Hurricane Maria in 2017, about which a number of speakers have spoken this morning. I think about the devastation, the damage, the tragedy of 65 lives lost here, and more than 3,000 throughout the region. Roseau left in ruins, almost every building on the island damaged, and every person affected. I think about the cost, 226% of our GDP. And I think about the livelihoods lost, the services disrupted, the infrastructure destroyed, the cleanup, the debt, the international rules which make accessing finance too difficult, even in these circumstances. The vicious cycle that it creates for so many of our countries, where borrowing creates more debt, and more debt necessitates more borrowing, until there is nowhere left to go. I sometimes wish that when the hurricane and the cyclones came, as Cheryl said, they didn't just take the houses, the bridges, the roads, the hospitals, the schools that we had invested in. I wish they took the debt with it. And we could say, you want your money? Go find it. Ask Hurricane Maria. So this kind of context is the perfect incubator for instability. It's the kind of context in which a country with a fragile democracy could descend into turmoil. And we are seeing instability leading to conflicts spreading across our world, but not in the Caribbean Commonwealth. For centuries, the Caribbean has stood as a beacon of resilience, overcoming the shadows of colonialism and oppression to embrace the promise of self-governance. And today, the precious covenant between government and the governed, rooted in the principles of justice, equality, and representation, remains the political cornerstone. That is the testament to the resilience of the Caribbean spirit, but also the vigilance, care, and attention required to protect and enhance the process, culture, and institutions of democracy. And this commitment to democracy is not only the shaping impulse of the Caribbean, it is the rhythm that beats in the heart of the Commonwealth. It is central to our charter, and it's the basis of our cooperation as 56 nations, of which 33 are small, representing 5 regions and 6 basins of the one great shared ocean. And it is the foundation of all our freedoms, our rights, our peace, and the promise of our shared prosperity. Protecting and enhancing democracy has been fundamental to the Commonwealth's priorities for decades. But we see that reality here, and I think every speaker before me spoke so powerfully of what that democracy means to our families, to those we love, and therefore, to this title, Your Protection, Our Mission. Because if you think about what we've done in our Commonwealth, we've undertaken more than 160 election observation missions, countless peace-building initiatives, and 10 elections are due in Commonwealth, Caribbean, and Americas in this region before the end of 2026. And we have more to come. We work with our member countries to address institutional challenges, ensuring that the electoral cycle processes continues to strengthen cycle after cycle. But there is nowhere where the democracy is more vibrant than this region. And you know how we can fight. And we work to reinforce the foundations of thriving societies, training public officials to help improve performance, delivery in government, helping to improve health, education, legal systems, helping to expand the opportunities to cooperate with other countries, to engage in and profit from international trade, empowering our young people, equipping them with the digital skills they need to thrive in the future economy, and so much more. And I would agree with Cheryl that teaching them about financial competence is not a bad place to start. So when shocks are visited upon us, the painstaking work helps to make us more resilient, because in those moments, systems become stretched, inequalities become amplified, and the tipping point for instability is brought forward. And it is these moments when the Commonwealth's shaping influences, love, friendship, solidarity, interconnectedness, mutual respects, come into their own. And those same elements are the elements which bind this region. And these influences manifest in everything we do in the Commonwealth. It's driven everything I have tried to create in the last 8 years, thinking about the people we serve, the people we love, the impact that everything we do is going to have on them has been the driving force. And that's what has made it possible for us to create things like the Climate Finance Access Hub, which has unlocked more than $357 million in essential support for the most vulnerable nations from just 8 million investment. It's what's driven us to train more than 2,500 climate advisors across the Commonwealth. And they are manifest in our work in disaster preparedness, which help to mitigate the impacts of shocks, in our disaster relief portal, which is there to support each of our members when they need it, in our Commonwealth Living Lands Charter, which addresses climate change, biodiversity loss, and land degradation, about which we heard this morning, in our Commonwealth Blue Charter, which is our action plan to address the threats to our ocean. It's in our Commonwealth flagship debt management system, Meridian, which is now in use across 50 countries to manage a combined portfolio of $2.5 trillion of public debt. It's in our Commonwealth connectivity agenda, which takes advantage of the Commonwealth's $14 trillion economy to boost intra-Commonwealth trade, which is at its current level of $800 billion to more than $2 trillion by 2030. We have done that by working together. It's in our Universal Vulnerability Index, which creates a better understanding of a country's true vulnerability to external shocks. I was determined we'd do that because it is not enough to look at our GDP. You have to look at our vulnerability. You have to look at what we suffer. You have to look at the fact that when we were a middle-income country, the day Maria hit, we became a no-income country the next day. So there's no point in trying to make us responsible for taking loans without assistance if we have no income. And that vulnerability index matters, and we are fighting for it. Now, in our Commonwealth, we also know that we have to do more on anti-corruption. The difference between the money we have and the money we need to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals is the sum equivalent that's siphoned off by corruption. And we've tackled it. And we've created the Commonwealth anti-corruption benchmarks, which help governments tackle graft within public and private sectors. It's in our Commonwealth Says No More campaign to end domestic violence and sexual violence. 1 in 3 women in our world will suffer from domestic violence at some stage in their lives. 1 in 3. You hear, Cheryl? Cut them off! But we know that there is an economic cost to that violence, and we are determined to address it. It's in our work to understand, harness, and master the most profound technological advancement in the history of human civilization, to ensure that all of our countries and their people can share in the economic potential, to ensure that we capitalize on its capacity for transformational climate change action, and to maximize its benefits, to minimize its risks to the whole society, and to ensure that the Commonwealth, 1.5 billion young people under the age of 30, have the skills and confidence to shape their future. This is the Commonwealth of 2024, 75 years on from our creation. A family of common values, shared interests, joint action, strengthened by the experience that we are at our best when we tackle challenges together. Because everyone is part of the solution. And that, I'm afraid, goes for you too. You are the new generation of insurers, and you have an indispensable role to play. We need your acuity, your judgment and skill to respond to the new challenges facing the people in our region and the Commonwealth. We need your expertise in identifying and quantifying risks. We need you to provide the data which could help us mitigate and adapt to climate change more successfully, to promote economic stability, and particularly when we are threatened with financial setbacks and natural disasters, to help build, to better secure resilience for the individual rights which are essential for vibrant economies, to create new instruments, offering safe paths through the crises which have the potential to undermine democratic institutions, and to build collective or pooled regional insurance, products which help small states address challenges around risk and costs. What if, instead of insuring individual institutions, we could think about how we could insure the whole country to spread the risk? What if we could create products which would respond to the region's needs in a way that would reduce the level of premium but enhance the opportunity to give insurance? What if we could do that? What if we could create credit enhancement solutions to better respond to the climate crisis? This is not beyond us. If the group assembled here does not have the answers to the new insurance conundrum, if you here assembled cannot craft the pathway, then please tell me who can. Who can? Because I'm told you're supposed to be the best of the best. So the planetary paradigm has shifted. We need to shift in response, and we need to shift fast. That is why I am here, to ask you to dig deep, to seek your advice and experience, to stand and to work with you, so that we, together, can support our people, safeguard our democracies, and protect our future. Because you are all part of this great Commonwealth family. And if you're not part of it, then you're certainly our friend. Now, as threats to democracy unfold around the world, so does the Commonwealth's vigilance. As requests for assistance increase, so does the Commonwealth's response. And I was thinking, as Cheryl was being referred to, our great Congress leader, that the Commonwealth isn't like Cheryl, save in one respect. We are both everywhere. And that is what it means by which, you see Cheryl, she's frowning. Cheryl, tell me, you're not everywhere? And that is what it means to be a member of the Commonwealth in 2024. 75 years of friendship, connection, and common action mean something. And today we are the largest association of democratic nations and the most significant groupings of countries in the history of the world, which is bound by common values, shared interests, and joint action. And we are blessed with the ingenuity and the imagination of a third of the world's population, with an immensely precious diversity of thought, culture, tradition, and experience, and 1.5 billion of our people under the age of 30. And where on climate change and biodiversity loss, youth opportunity and education, global health, or economic and education cooperation, being part of the Commonwealth means being part of a concerted effort to play an indispensable role in the most pressing issues of our time, with strength not merely to face the future, but to build it, with a confidence to lead the world rooted in the demonstrable impact of a program of practical action, support and assistance for our member states, which is more comprehensive today than at any time in our 75-year history. Support which is hard-headed, responsive, and ambitious, which is holistic, tailored, and action-oriented, and which is focused on building our resilient common future. The challenges we face are real and serious, but our extraordinary potential, built together over more than 75 years, makes us more than equal to them. And as we look to our next Heads of Government meeting, which will take place in October in Samoa and beyond, the best guarantee we have of our ongoing security and our future success is to remain unified, to remain purposeful, to continue to be there for one another, and to ensure that our commitment, our essential values of peace and democracy are not simply words, but a framework for our decisions and our action. The geopolitical tensions are rising, and authoritarian regimes cast their shadow across the international stage. That is not something that we can control, but it is something we can respond to. The vibrant tapestry of Commonwealth Caribbean nations, with its diverse cultures and histories, serves as a beacon of hope amidst this tumultuous tides of uncertainty. Caribbean democracy is the bulwark against the forces of oppression and exclusion, empowering citizens to participate in the decision-making processes which shape their lives, fostering a sense of ownership and belonging within their communities, providing the framework to develop and prosper and the strong foundations upon which to build when shocks reappear. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, the fate of democracy here is intertwined with that of the global community. By standing firm in defense of democratic values and principles, the Caribbean not only secures its own future, but contributes to the broader struggle for freedom and justice around the world. We are the spice that flavors democracy. And if you look into the faces of our Caribbean people, you'll see the origins of every other race. And usually in the face of one person. Because most of us are a combination of many, many races, many cultures. And we have demonstrated to the world you can live in peace and harmony with those who others think are different from you. In Jamaica, they say, or in Antigua, they say, because that's where my father comes from, also, all of we is one. Alawi is one. In Antigua, we say, Alawi is one. And that's a lesson the world needs to learn. We have every religion in this region, every race, every demographic. And yet, we have the greatest quadrant of love, compassion, and ability to work together. And yesterday, you showed it. So I am extremely proud to come from this region. I'm particularly proud to be a Dominican, not least because many said that we in the OECS were a small island. My mother once told me, and I didn't know how to take this since I was 5'8", she said, everything that's truly wonderful comes in small packages. I think she was thinking of a diamond. So, as I stand here before you as your Secretary General, I want to reaffirm the Commonwealth's commitment and to recruit you all in the enduring effort to protect and build our democracy. Not only our shared heritage, but also our collective hope for a better tomorrow. What we heard this morning from those who bravely shared their testimony is how your industry guaranteed a better tomorrow. A better tomorrow for mothers left with 3 children to care for, the consequence of mothers left with 10 children and no insurance to struggle, the difference it made to the minister that when his father died, his mother had an insurance which guaranteed that all 3 of her sons could continue their education, which means he can be our minister today. So I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for the times when you have been prepared to listen to your clients. I want to thank you for the ingenuity that you demonstrated when you crafted something which was not only good enough for the pain that they experienced, but was better than they expected. But was also what they deserved. So for all those times when you think nobody values you, nobody really understands how hard you work, nobody ever says thank you except today, and nobody notices or values what you do, all those bad hair days when you think you'd rather be doing anything than what you're doing, I want you to take a breath. And when those days come, I want you to remember that the Right Honourable, the Baroness Scotland of Astle, KC, DL, PhD, etc., said on behalf of 2.7 billion people, thank you.
Thank you. Let's listen for your lead. Showing some appreciation. Present to you, we present to you a token of our appreciation. You had us all spellbound, and I think if articulate and eloquent was a person, I think you would fit that easily. Ernesto? Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Excellency, Baroness Scotland. We would like to as well call on Mr. Brenton Hiller to do the honors to present a token of appreciation to the husband of the President of Dominica, Mr. Burton. We present to you this fruit basket for your attendance here, gracing us with your presence. We would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Madam Burton. Please come forward. I will present to you a token of our appreciation as well, handed by CARAIFA's President, Gil Meredith. Thank you for the honors. Thank you, Madam President, once more. We now call on Cheryl Rowe. And yes, Cheryl, I am fearful of you.
Why?
Because I have a little story. When Cheryl called me, Cheryl told me, I would like you to be the master of the ceremony for my event. I said, Cheryl, well, I'm the only person at the house, and, took you around to the school. I don't care what you say, Kiwana. You have to be there. Whatever it takes to do it, you have to be there. So I just said yes. Cheryl?
Thank you, Kiki. Kewana also comes from the cultural capital of Dominica.
You asking, Cheryl?
Yes, yeah, I know. So this is where we have so much culture.
All right.
And so I want to teach you all a word today, just before we close. Right? Okay. So just a few hours, so I can take it back with you. So in Dominica, there's a word for when you're enjoying yourself, and when it's actually translated to honey from patois, but it doesn't
Creole. It's Creole.
from Creole, but it doesn't really take as much of the sweet. It is even sweeter when you speak it. And the Creole word for when we're in a good time is bum siwo. So I thought. So what it means is what it means is a pot of honey. So Dominica is known to be a siwo country. So it's a sweet country. It's a country that enjoys music. Remember, we created the only country in the Caribbean to create two genres of music, by the way, caras and bouillon. So, Mr. DJ, I would like you to play. When we end it, he's going to play a song sung by our Prime Minister. Even he is in the CO. So, from AM to PM, but we'll get to that. Madam Secretary, I don't know if I have the energy to insure 2.5 billion people. That's what you said?
To the Caribbean.
Okay, because 2.7 billion, I'm trying to figure out how we're going to be able to speak to all these people. So, CARAIFA, I have given you the mantle to be able to reach out to the 2.7 million, Madam Secretary. Billion. 2.7 billion people that we need to spread the word. Okay? So, Mr. Regulator, two regulators stand up and they look like, can we have a stand up to see our regulators? Don't they look like two secret agents? 007 over here. But you know, on a serious note, I remember one of the regulators telling me when the hurricane struck, the first person he thought of was me. Because we had met with the World Bank, right? And all the insurance companies, Pan Life, Pan American Life, Sagicor, and all the rest of the companies. And we were in a meeting at the financial center. And, they spoke, World Bank did their presentation and we spoke. And I had a question, and I had a concern. Like, who checks on the demographics? Who checks on, if you're insuring, let's say, this whole district of Portsmouth, does one company take that responsibility? And what if the hurricane or the earthquake or the tsunami hits that spot, that whole village, for example? Should the insurance companies not carry and split it instead of one insurance company insuring it, and then a hurricane strikes, and then you go out of business? And of course, insurance, when one company messes up, they speak about insurance on a whole. But when one company does good, this lady here, thank God she has spoken about it, but most people don't like to tell people when they get paid out. So you don't hear about the good news. And I remember joining the insurance industry, and my first thing to my manager at the time was, who is a Hall of Famer, by the way, and he could not make it here, Mr. Curtis Tom. And I told him, Mr. Tom, why is it that when we hand out a death limb check, we don't go, like when you win the lotto, they have a picture of you, the lotto with the lotto and the check. So I would like to go in the newspaper and hand it out. And he said, Cherry, that sounds like a good idea, but that's a personal choice and nobody really wants people to know they got money. So you don't hear the good part, you only hear the bad part. And so I cannot speak for everyone here or anyone here, but age brings wisdom. And as I get younger, I realize that the youth have an integral part to play in society. And as Madam Sec Jen said, we have to start looking at the future and to build it. A question I had for you, Madam Sec Jen. I didn't have my phone, so I couldn't Google it. And so I'm asking you, Haiti is part of the Commonwealth. It's not. You see what's happening? Haiti is not. I didn't know Haiti was part of the Commonwealth. So you see, in unity there is strength, but that's why. How can it become a part of it? Okay, so we'll talk about that after. Okay. So two things. I would like all of you to look at your name tags right now. Everybody look at your name tag, and can you stand up for those that I have chosen? The Spirit told me, the Spirit calling you. So the Spirit told me to call you. Stand up, please, all those that have mentors on their tags. Please stand. Please stand, everyone who has mentor on their shirt, on their tags. I know I chose 40 mentors. I've not seen 40 people standing. Where the rest? They gone home? So I chose 40 mentors. I would like everybody else to look at them. This is your mentors that were chosen. 40 there, you think there's 40, okay, 40. Okay, so mentors. After lunch, we're meeting at everybody's meeting poolside at 3 o'clock at Intercontinental. Poolside at 2. Remember, in your welcome kit, you all have towels, and I asked those that are staying out of the hotel, including myself, and the sacrifices that I made. So I'm also staying. I'm here, in solidarity with the ones that have not stayed in the main hotel. I have sacrificed, not staying there as well. And none of us are staying there. We are sleeping in a room of, how many people slept in our room last night? 6 on the floor, 4 on the floor, and 2, right? 6. 7 of us are sleeping in one bedroom, and I paid my long dollar.
And this was the
so I'm saying, bear with us,
opening ceremony of the
we could not put
35th
everybody in one hotel.
Caribbean Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors Conference. And I believe that we are doing housekeeping matters now, so we are about to say goodbye, everyone, and thanks for joining.
Because you're going to be with us, collect.